eventually pleaded guilty to the murder of Marshall University student Samantha Burns, who was 19 when she was kidnapped and killed.
2 weeks ago, the Q Center received another map from folks of the area. The convicted killer says that he and Brandon Basham buried their first victim, West Virginia College student Samantha Burns.
Last episode you heard Beth's story. So we go back to 2014, and my paranormal group at the time went out to Buffalo Creek to search some of the areas that he had mentioned in the letters that I went over in the other episodes. It was springtime, so the area wasn't really well grown or anything, so it was very accessible to get there. And I can only speak for myself, but when you go through a curve, and once you pop around it, you're in the straight stretch right before, Rocky Top Pizza comes into view on the left side, right before the railroad tracks. I got this really heavy feeling in the area, and I knew we were close to Buffalo Creek, and the thing is, I never had been there. This was the first time I've ever been in that area. And, then I see Rocky Top, and I'm like, oh my God, we're there. So, took the turn, saw the building, what used to be the hardware store at the time, and then I saw the road that he had talked about going up, that crossroad tracks, and that's where we parked at. And I could see the view of the area Chad mentioned, in the map, and we looked all over the whole area from the view that we had. The only thing I can say, like where to start at, the only place would be the old house foundation that we were parked at. We ended up walking over the area to find several V-shaped trees, and we took photos so we could send back to Chad. And we never could locate the pile of rocks. And as far as my knowledge, nobody has ever been able to locate the pile of rocks. He mentioned, about the mark in the V-shaped tree. So I've had people, which I won't really go into detail here, but I've had people contact me that very questionable marks in a V-shaped tree. But I could never seem at the time to get on the right page with Chad, which, he's in Indiana, so, 5-6 hours away, he's not here, but yes, like I said, they did bring him back and all that to point out the location, but trying to communicate with somebody about something, that happened so long ago, and, being heavily involved on drugs and stuff during their crime spree. But there was a tree up close to the railroad tracks that I felt was the tree, because I thought, who would carry a bunch of rocks far down the hill and into the field, especially when you're on private property trying to hide a body? So that was my major question. It just didn't seem right to me, but Chad insists the tree was more down into the field from his letters. Overall, we ended up going out there 5 to 7 times in 2014, and I always got that heavy feeling, and I drove to Buffalo Creek like I never actually went out there and done anything after, this whole time of searching and stuff. And I've always got that feeling out there. Like, it's just an uneasy, gut feeling. It's really weird to explain, but you would know if you've had it. Like I said, we only really searched the area a total of 2 to 3 times out of the 5 to 7 times we went out there. Most of it was just going out there, taking pictures and trying to, send them to him and get everything on the same page. Because the only reason we didn't really get a search out in the field was that the weeds, during summer got really high. And at one point, you could not even walk out there. It was probably 6 feet tall. We did bring our paranormal equipment and see if we could maybe try to find anything from that angle. We did have one audio piece. I have no clue what I've done with it. It's been, like I said, that long ago. Maybe something, but I personally don't think so. But it was kind of like a female, like a noise, but we only had one female with us at the time. So going back to 2014, at the end of the year, I'd heard from Chad around Christmas. He had some personal stuff had come up, and it didn't go the way he thought it would, so he was in a bad, depressed state. I last heard from him in 2015 through email, but did not receive anything else after that until later on. Like I said, I'll get to that eventually. Even though I quit hearing from Chad in 2015, and I didn't know if I would ever hear from him again, I personally felt the issue he was dealing with at the end of 2014 had got the best of him, so he just kept to himself, which made sense to me. But I didn't quit, thinking about Samantha, though. I'd always tried to think of anything I could lead to help find her. I've contacted a few different people, including even writing to Brandon to see if he would talk, but nothing ever came of it. It seemed like nothing would ever surface on Samantha's case until we're going to jump forward to Jimmy video that surfaced on July 8th, 2017.
Hey, it's Jimmy Hysell. I just want to let everybody know, I ain't making none of this shit up. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on anything. I don't do shit. I met this woman about 6-7 months ago. Long story fucking short, I married her about 2 months ago. She said she's been trying to tell me something ever goddamn since we've been together. I've been cutting her fucking grass every fucking week I've been there. I come across a fucking bone, ask her questions about it. And, well, long story short, I found out more than I wanted to know. She'd been telling me shit for about 6 months about things about that pile. I've been wanting to move it and make a frog pond because I took a pool down and I was going to take the liner out and dig a hole and put a fucking koi fish pond and frog pond, whatever. Well, she told me, she's like, you don't want to do that. She says, there's things in the bottom of that hole that'll make you hate me. And she went on and on and on over the months, just fucking little head games. And finally, every time she'd talk to me about anything, I got that gut feeling she was trying to hold shit back from me. So I was about to leave her ass. Not fucking exaggerating one little bit. I was about to fucking leave her ass. I said, bitch, I'm telling you right now. I said, you're out here doing something or you're hiding something. I said, because I got this gut fucking feeling. I says, I'm not going to fucking put up with this bullshit no more. I said, I'm about to fucking leave. She said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. She said, well, what do you want to know? I said, I want to know one goddamn dark secret about your fucking life. We was drinking. I won't lie. Well, she's like, well, what do you want to know? And blah, blah, blah. And she just tried to turn shit around on me. She's like, why are you dogging me, motherfucker? Why you always want to get in my shit? Why you always want to know what's on my mind? I said, motherfucker, you're hiding something. And every goddamn time a fucking conversation comes up, you always try to make out like I'm fucking some mental motherfucker or some shit stir or some shit like that. I said, I found a goddamn bone out there in that burn pile. She grabs her fucking chest and she's like, oh my God, really? I said, yeah, fucking really. I said, won't you fucking tell me what the fuck's going on and what the fuck's out there? Well, she's like, I can't talk right now. I'm fucking drinking, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about this in the morning. I'm like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm going to go lay down on the couch. So I went to bed on the fucking couch. Well, I get up next morning. I call my kayaking buddies, and you can ask them. I called every one of them. I said, oh, I'm going to cancel because I got to go pay rent, which I did. But that wasn't the reason I canceled. Well, she come out on the fucking porch in her fucking bathing suit. Says, I'm ready. This is like 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, ready for what? She's like, go kayaking. I said, well, have fun. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not fucking going nowhere with your fucking ass until you're fucking honest with me. So she starts pounding the fucking walls, cussing it like a goddamn sailor, freaking the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck? I've never seen this side of her, ever. And I'd only been married to her for 2 months. Well, next goddamn thing I know, she comes out, puts her head down between her legs, sits there for about 20 fucking minutes. Now I looks over. Well, I'm only sitting like 3 foot from her. I noticed a couple tears every now and then. I said, don't start the fucking pity party. I said, I ain't fucking playing that fucking bullshit. I'll be goddamn. She raises her head up and goes, looks at me. She said, you sure you want to know? I said, there ain't nothing you can tell me that's going to make me fucking hate you. So I turned my chair facing her. I was like this close to her. And I was holding her hands, and I kissed her and shit. I said, there ain't nothing that you can tell me that's going to make me fucking hate you. I'm telling you right now. The fucking shit she told me, I wanted to fucking kill her my fucking self. Cause I got a goddamn daughter named Samantha. And I'm fucking about to die over this fucking bullshit. She said, Samantha Burns is right there. And I fucking about had a heart attack. So I tried to play it off. I said, that ain't nothing. She said, well, that ain't all. There's other bodies. And I'm like, whoa. So I said, I fucking freaked the fuck out. I said, you gotta get your ass to the fucking cops. And I said, you gotta fucking tell them everything you told me. She's like, oh no. She said, why don't we just dig up the pile, throw it in Sims Creek? Go on about her life for the next fucking 30, 40 years. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. She said, you're already an accessory. What do you mean I'm an accessory? She said, I said, oh, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to the fucking cops whether you come with me or not. I said, I'm going to give you the chance to tell your fucking story, or I'm going to go down there and tell them what you fucking told me. Well, she said, close the door and sit down. Calm down. So I went and goddamn fucking closed the door. She said, why don't you, just forget about this, and let's go ahead and dig it up, and we'll go ahead and put a koi fish pond there. I said, fuck you, bitch. I tried to dig that fucking hole up for fucking 5 fucking months. You kept jumping my ass over, fucking leaving it alone. And I said, and then when I found a fucking bone, you want to start fucking shit and make me out of mental motherfucker. Well, I lost my business. I lost my home. I lost my fucking truck. I lost my kayaks. I lost every fucking thing. And then now she told me I opened up a goddamn can of worms that's going to get me fucking killed. She's got fucking a fucking goddamn nightmare I ain't never fucking heard. She told me shit that's stuck in my head. I can't even fucking sleep. And y'all motherfuckers want to act like I done lost my goddamn mind. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to find fucking human remains. Mark my goddamn words. That's all I can say about that. And Rebecca Bocook Hughes, you're going to fucking see justice. I promise you, I will not fucking shut up. I will not fucking rest until you fucking see justice, you fucking dirty, black-hearted bitch. And that's all I got to fucking say.
I had been tagged in a post on the 7th about a possible serial killer in Chesapeake, Ohio. I never knew it would lead to where it did because once I watched Jimmy's video and he said Samantha's burns was in his wife's burn pile, I truly wanted to believe it was true because Samantha and her family deserve closure on all of this. It had me glued to my phone and laptop to see what would come out of it. One thing I will say about Jimmy's whole debacle, it was way, way out there. I had talked to Jimmy a little bit, but nothing to really, he had so many people messaging him at the time, I tried to get to him, but it was already too late. Everybody was already in on it. And he was kind of more scattered through the small little bits and pieces of messages I had from him. But the new attention on Samantha's case, got me to reach out to Chad and to see if he had heard about Jimmy's video. And I signed on July 9th, 2017, and there was an email waiting for me. He didn't really mention anything about all what was going on. I ended up shooting him an email and telling him, what was going on, and I just had to connect the dots to see what he would say. Because there were so many questions that really took off in this. Because, these people were never, Jimmy's wife was never connected to any of this. And I still don't know where she connects in it. So, yeah. But the FBI, Huntington Police, and Lawrence County Police, and maybe a few others, I'm pretty sure it was all of them, went out there for a few days and dug the area Jimmy had mentioned. And, everybody I know, including myself, probably kept their fingers crossed that something was found, but nothing was. So, was Jimmy's story just a little bit of an offbeat hiccup in the road? I don't know. I personally think it was. I don't know what caused that route to go and him to make that video. I don't know the whole full story of why that transpired. Like I said, it did help bring Samantha's case into the limelight more. I had people messaging me pretty much as soon as I woke up in the morning to go to work until I fell asleep. I had people reaching out to me from all over the world, and I had offers to do TV and everything, and it was just way too much. And it was, I guess you could say it was their 15 minutes of fame of whatever, like I said, whatever that was. And I still have no clue, like I said, to this day, what that was. It was really, like I said, a whole different route. I remember Chad's email, though, that he had sent. He basically tied in that, Jimmy's wife was connected with Brendan Basham. But if that was the case, it didn't make any sense. And like I said, once all this kind of died down, it went away. And as far as I know, to my knowledge, it has never been brought back up between anybody that was connected on that side of the story. So I'm going to talk about a little story. Pretty sure I have probably on other things because I've been interviewed about this before. Jimmy had mentioned in some videos. I didn't watch all of his videos, I will admit to that, because there was so much. And like I said, it was just basically him trying to say he was on the run type thing. But he had mentioned burner phones that he had. Well, I was contacted from a lady that had got them from Jimmy. There were 5 phones. And I think, to go back, I had met her after work one day and got them. And, like, it was a whole weird setup. Trying to, like, I remember somebody was watching to make sure I was, like, a legit person and that I was who I said I was. Because I remember once I had got there and said that I was here, you could just tell I was being watched. And then she came out, gave them to me. Like I said, there was 5 phones, and like only 2 of them worked, if I remember correctly. Like there wasn't many that worked out of them. Nothing was on them. The 2 that did work, and I wouldn't even say they were burner phones. I think they were just personal phones. You know how some people, like, I probably have old phones that have kind of quit working, or I just upgraded and just set them off to the side. I personally think that's all they were just that. Just old phones that probably they kept just for emergency, in case their newer phone broke. That's just my thought on it. But, like I said, just the whole, not to really go on like a rant, but whether what you believe in Jimmy's story, you can believe it. But like I said, I personally, I kind of closed that door. Like I'll leave it a little bit open just in case if there is a connection to it at some point. Like I said, nothing feels right that it's connected there. Like I said, that's just my personal opinion.